another morning mindset and mindset matters. And today we're going to talk about comparison. Now, if you've been following me at all on Instagram or joining me for the gathering, I am really taking some time to talk about the subtleties that keep us from dreaming, because I just have this belief that it's not the crazy life-altering moments that keep us from dreaming. It's the small little subtleties, the pebbles in our shoes that over time start to compound. And then what happens is we practice being a realist. We practice worry. We practice fear. We practice avoidance. We practice all of these things that keep us from dreaming. And then we wake up 10, 20, 30 years later, and truth be told, we're a practiced realist, a practiced worrier, a practiced fearful person. And so it's not that we can't have our dreams or can't clarify our dreams. It's that we've just been practicing something else. And so today I thought it would be really good to talk about the arch enemy of comparison, because comparison is, I really think, a huge sin that we don't even realize we're doing. And because we live in a day and age where we can be plugged in to everybody else's life 24/7, I mean, between YouTube and social media, we can see what everybody else is doing all the time. And so I think it begins to rob our ability to create and live out the dreams that are on the inside of us, because we're so busy trying to keep up and compete with everybody else and what everybody else is doing and what everybody else is saying. And we're losing what we're saying, right? So we're going to talk about that today. How does comparison stop you from living your dreams? I think that it starts really subtly, because even if you're like a personal development junkie, it's really easy to tune into what everybody else is saying, right? All the tips and tools and tricks of that, the idea that success leaves clues, which for sure it does. But the problem is now I'm starting to tune in so much to what someone else is telling me that I need to do. I'm tuning in so much to what my neighbor just bought, to what my neighbor is doing, to what my mom and dad taught me as a kid, to what the industry is saying. I'm tuning in so much to everything around me that now I'm starting to compare my life with everybody around me. And it's really easy to even start surrounding yourself with people who do a lot of the same things, right? Like birds of a feather flock together. And so then not only am I comparing myself, but I'm starting to really create this circle of familiarity around me. And then I wonder why I'm not getting what I want, right? Comparison is when you look at what someone else is doing, what someone else is saying, what someone else is thinking, and then you subliminally, is that a word? Subliminally, unconsciously, subconsciously, start using that as a filter to how you view life, right? So now your view in life, your view in your dreams, your view of your faith, your community, your marriage, even how you lead your kids, is someone else's filter. Like, you guys, this is for real. I want you to sit there for a minute and I want you to think about, is the way that you're looking at your life, your faith, your career, your marriage, your community, your relationships, is it your filter or is it someone else's? Not that someone else's is bad or wrong, but it just may not be right for you. Are you looking at all of those things in light of what your parents told you growing up, in light of just what your neighbor is doing, in light of what 5 people on social media are doing? Or are you looking at it through your filter? For most of us, if we're honest, it's through this comparison filter. And then what happens is comparison starts to turn into envy. It starts to turn into greed. It starts to turn into doubt. It starts to turn into resentment. And here's why, because now if they have more money, more love, more stuff, more accomplishments, then I start to look at myself in the mirror and go, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do it? How did I miss the boat? What did I do wrong? And now all of a sudden we're working against ourselves. So it's not the economy. It's not somebody else. It's not our boss. It's not our job loss. It's the fact that now I'm looking at me and comparing it to someone else and shaming myself. Someone else is not shaming me. Someone else is not guilting me. I'm doing it to me. One of the most important relationships I could have, I'm now deteriorating from the inside out because of the subtlety of comparison. Now I feel like I'm not keeping up. Now I feel like I'm not as far ahead as they are. I start to feel like I should have more, I should be more, I should be doing more. Why? Why do you feel like you should be doing more? Why do you feel like you should have more? Why do you feel like you should be thinking something different? Because you're looking around at everybody else around you and you're not checking in with you and asking you, where do you think you should be? Asking you, how do you think you should be thinking about this? Asking you, what do you believe you should be believing about this? Right? Like even in an area that you're stuck right now, like if you feel stuck in your marriage, if you feel stuck because you just lost your job, you feel stuck because you're not moving ahead with your business, stop asking everybody else what they think. Stop looking around at what everybody else is doing in the industry or what everybody else is doing in their marriage. And maybe the person you should be checking in with is you, right? Because then, so here's even what we do more. Not only are we comparing ourselves with other people, we're comparing ourselves with where we were 10 years ago, right? The 35-year-old in me is now comparing myself to the 25-year-old, and I'm frustrated, right? I was just talking to someone the other day who's probably 40, and he goes, yeah, I went to the gym and I was really, really frustrated because I just can't work out the way that I used to. So now I'm comparing myself with who I used to be, which means I'm losing all power and all hope and all belief for where I am now. So that subtlety of comparison, me comparing me to who I used to be, me comparing me to everybody else around me, now I'm losing my voice. I'm losing my fire. I'm losing my dreams. And I'm now disconnecting from myself, misaligning myself from me. And then I wonder why I wake up and I don't know how to get clear and I don't know how to get unstuck. You guys, comparison will kill your ability to dream. It will kill it. Right? If you're even now still stuck in this whole concept of I'm comparing my current state to what I thought was going to be happening in Q3 before COVID, right? Like 2020, I had my agenda, I had my goals, and now I'm frustrated and I'm reeling because I'm comparing my current reality to what I thought was supposed to be happening. This comparing will kill your ability to create and dream from the inside out. Because now I'm completely attached to the outside in. I'm more attached and care more about what everybody else is doing and what everybody else is saying. And so I'm no longer in touch with what I'm saying. This is why we're angry and defeated and depressed and unmotivated and overcompensating and fearful and worried and doubtful, is because we have disconnected from ourselves and disconnected from the God in us that is designed to create. So here is the key. Here's how you start to turn this, okay? If you're sitting there today and you're like, okay, guilty. Like comparison is the arch enemy to me living my dreams. I see that now. I'm recognizing that I'm tuning in more to the things going on around me than what's going on within me. How do I change it then? How do I stop comparing? How do I stop being envious? How do I stop worrying about what everybody else is doing and start focusing more on me when I haven't done it for very long? Here's what you have to understand. The hero in the story and the opposite of comparison is creation. And anytime that the thing, how do I want to say this? The reason that you're depressed, depleted, unmotivated, overcompensating, exhausted is because anytime that something is not being utilized for its fundamental purpose, it's frustrated. You are designed and wired and born and put on this planet to create, period. Everybody, every single human being on the planet is designed and wired to create something, to bring something to this world, to release a new sound, to give a new voice, to offer a new perspective, to bring solutions that nobody else can bring. Every single one of us. And so the minute that we don't do that, because we get caught up in comparison, because we start looking like everybody else and sounding like everybody else and doing what everybody else is doing, everybody else is worried, so I should be too. Everybody else is fearful, so I should be too. Everybody in my industry does this, so I should too. The minute we start to do that is the minute we disconnect from our sole purpose of creating, from our sole purpose of dreaming and manifesting our dreams. And it's no wonder that we're really, excuse my language, but fucking frustrated. Anything that isn't being utilized for its core fundamental purpose is going to be frustrated, right? Like, think of a hammer. If I'm using a hammer and I'm just like, and we'll give our hammer a little soul, okay? And so we'll pretend that our hammer has a soul and it's sitting just in the toolbox, okay? And it's not being used. It's gonna start being depressed and it's gonna be sad and it's gonna wonder what its purpose is and it's gonna just wish that it could do something, okay? Many of us could be there, right? Like, I just wanna do something. I've never felt my purpose being utilized. I just want to see what I'm capable of. Then we pick up that hammer and the little soul comes alive in this hammer, right? But we start hitting hubcaps and trees and banging on walls. And at first the hammer's like, right on, like, this is awesome. Like, I'm being utilized. I'm having fun. I'm trying different things, right? I'm getting into different industries. I'm learning about different things. I'm meeting new people. I'm going new places, right? This is the process of life, okay? But then at some point in time, the hammer starts to become tired because it's like, I don't feel like I was made to hit trees, and I don't feel like I was made to just hit hubcaps. Like, is there something more? Which is the first question a dreamer in waiting asks when they're ready to be launched into this space of being a dreamer, right? So this little hammer says, is there something more? And then all of a sudden I take that hammer and I hit a nail and boom, the light goes on. Like, I have goosebumps right now saying that, right? Like, your light goes on. And your light goes on and you wake up and start to serve your gift to the world because you realize what your purpose is and you're being utilized because you're creating. You're creating in your marriage. You're creating in your career. You're creating a relationship with your kids. You're creating something that only you can create. That's how you start to compare, is because you no longer focus on the rest of the world to tell you what you're here to do. And you start taking what is and making it what you want it to be. You look at your marriage and you go, the realist in me says this isn't what I wanted or imagined. What is what I imagine? What is the marriage that I imagine? And you get your butt from reality to where you want it to be, period. You don't look around. You don't ask someone else if it's okay. You don't even worry about what everybody else is doing in their marriage. You do what you're here to do in your marriage for a career. Right? You look at what is and you go, well, I'm not fulfilled in this area. I don't feel utilized in this area. I wish I could be doing more of this. I would love to be doing more of that. You start exploring and you go, okay, so then here's reality. Here's where my butt is. Here's what I imagine. Here's what I'm dreaming. Here's the career I want to create. And now your goal is to get it from where you are to where you want to be by creating it. Yeah, but Julie, I've never seen anything like this. Doesn't matter. Create it. Yeah, but my parents weren't good parents. I don't know how to engage with my kids. It doesn't matter. Create it, right? Yeah, but Julia, I've never been financially free. I didn't have that exemplified. Nobody around me lives financially free. I didn't ask you what's going on around you. I asked you what's going on within you. A dreamer realizes that what's going on within them is far more freaking important than what's going on around them. It has to be. Otherwise, I'm just a product of my environment. I'm just a product of the world. I'm just a product of the system. No, you're not. You are here to change the system. You are here to enhance the environment. You are here to sing a song that nobody else can sing. And if you don't learn how to create it, then you'll miss it. You'll miss it. So I want you to watch for comparison today and this week. I want you to notice when your practice of comparing yourself getting on social media and watching what everybody else is doing, getting on YouTube and wishing you were someone else, tuning so much in the industry that you're just copycatting what everybody else is doing. And instead, I'd like for you to tune out for the week, for the day, for the month. And I'd like for you to stop asking everybody else what you should be doing in this area, to stop comparing yourself to where you thought you should be in 2020, to stop comparing yourself to where you were 10 years ago, and to get in here and to ask yourself, okay, here's what is. My reality says blank in any area, but what am I imagining? What am I imagining in this area? I want you to sit with it long enough. I want you to clarify it long enough. And then I want you to start taking a step every single day to go from where you are to where you want to be. You don't get the full step, right? Like you have to know as a dreamer, you're not going to get A to Z. All I want to know is where is your butt? Where is your reality? What do you imagine? What is the dream that you want more than anything in any area of your life? And then what's just the next step? Like get Indiana Jones with me, right? Like he gets just the next step. But if you are too busy comparing, you will never have the energy to create, ever. So break it down this way. Comparing is a practice. You've practiced comparing. You've practiced comparing yourself to everybody else. You've practiced comparing yourself to who you think you should be or who you were 10 years ago. It's been a practice, which means you can unlearn it and start to practice something new. And the practice here that I'm suggesting is the practice of creation. Bringing to this world what only you can bring. Bringing to your marriage only what you can bring. Bringing to your career and your family and your community what only you can bring. Detaching and tuning out from everyone and everything else around you and tuning into what's going on within you and unapologetically over time, slowly but surely, bringing your art to the world. Bring your art to the world. Do not let the fear, the worry, the doubt, or anything going on around you distract you or detour you from bringing what only you can bring. This is your song. This is your book. This is your words. This is your life, not someone else's. So join me this week on unlearning the art of comparison and learning the art of creation. It'll change everything. Everything. I love you. I believe in you. I'm here with you. Go create today.